Hello, hello, everybody. How goes it? Skinner, you do be farting. Welcome, guys, to a episode of Noli Friends. This week we have Mr. Choobies, Mr. Preston. Hello, sir.
Hello, what's up?
How goes it,
Good
brother?
to be here.
Ah,
Good. Pretty good.
ah, thank you for coming on. I appreciate
hmm
it.
Thank you for having me.
Of course, it's always good to have fellow East Coasters. I feel like there's just
Yeah,
not a lot. I feel like there's just
yeah.
not a lot.
It's like the biggest people are all like in LA, West Coast,
Like the
California crew kind of thing.
like the
Yeah, also
majority that
numbers. Yeah, the
like
majority of
almost
people.
literally like almost everybody. The only people I think it's you, Basic, Liz Kits,
Lightning.
Lightning, and Sam Packpack are the only ones I've had on here. So
Mm,
5 of the 14 have been East Coast, and the others have all been West Coast or Canada.
Giuseppe Stramboli, you put your
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
name in the
That's
gabagool
about
of
right.
fire.
Thank you so much for 6 months, Skinner. Mwah. Oh my, but you have the old Indian helmet.
I actually see it. I actually see it.
I
I
like.
can't disagree.
Is it like a meme? I like never I like took note of it when you put them on. I'm like, those are some interesting. Like I didn't like even think like antennas or anything. I'm like, those are some
Yeah,
legit headphones.
they're very large, so I get comments on that all the time. They're pretty new. Like a few weeks ago, they arrived.
Are
I'm
you
very
like in
happy
the
with them.
Are you in the audiophile game?
Yeah. Every like 5 years or so. Hopefully, this is the last time I have to upgrade. Is what I keep telling myself. Yeah, these
Just
are ZMF Verite closed.
I'm not. I know some of those words.
Okay, the
I
ZMF words.
I will
ZMF
say
brand? No.
I will say this. I am like very much not in the. I like have avoided getting in the. I've avoided getting in the audiophile game. It is. I think I'm in like one too many expensive hobbies, to where
Mm,
it's just. I'm gonna stick with my XM double whatever these R4s, these Sony's.
The Sony ones. Yeah,
They're wireless. They're comfy. I wear them all day. They're great. Love them.
they have like the really marshmallowy pads, right?
Yeah, they're really soft.
Yeah,
I like these. I like
really
wearing these like
soft.
when I'm home. I wear them literally like I walk around the house with them all day without even like thinking about it.
That's
I don't know.
awesome.
Those look pretty cozy. I know.
hmm
I know Alex. I don't remember the brand. Alex Odos. He got sent to him. I think he's friends with the people. Like custom like resin, like the outside it's like resin and wood, but it's like to his colors, and it was really cool. I just don't remember what the company was called, which isn't very helpful.
Are they the Alex
Yep.
Rozon Rad Zeros? Yeah.
What the fuck?
I'm selling these boys, but I upgraded from these to these. Yeah.
Just
I
he's
talked
like,
to
oh,
Alex about them a little bit. They just happen to be here.
He just said he's like I actually managed to have them.
Yes.
Just on me. Oh my god. Oh
Yeah.
my lord.
I'm a one headphone kind of guy though, so it's like
I,
people who are into keyboards and they just have one keyboard and it's end game kind of thing. That's me in headphones because
the
the hobbies are like so different. Like it's really hard to sample and try out different headphones, and then reading reviews, it's like people telling you about how it sounds, and it's like it's very different than keyboards, where you can go and try things. So they have headphone meets too, which I haven't gone to any yet.
huh.
But yeah,
I think it's like almost intimidating. It's just like it really is just like I'm sure it's like I don't think keyboards are complicated now, but I remember when I first was getting into it, it was like incredibly overwhelming. Like to like switches,
yeah,
loops, springs, stems. Like what do these words mean?
yeah,
God forbid
for sure.
PCB and soldering. Like and now it's like I hear like I'm like amps, preamps, tubes, and I'm like oh god.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, it is a lot.
like I thought like I was an audiophile when I got a record player and some decent speakers and a phone preamp or not preamp and a receiver with a phono option. I'm like wow,
Hmm.
I am audiophile.
Dude, that's
I am what I
pretty
want.
legit. I know some of those words. I've only
Exactly.
delved into headphones, like no vinyl, no loudspeakers or anything.
Just stay
So,
at a record. It's not worth it. I love and that's someone from and this is coming from someone who loves records.
mm,
Sipping on some tweez.
yes. Wait, what's
Is it
is that?
twisted
What
tea?
is? Yeah, is that what it's called?
That's what we call. At least in Maryland, I know a lot of people would call them tweez.
Oh, I've never heard of that before. That's awesome.
Maybe it's just my friends call it that. I'm not sure. Maybe it's just like a my friends thing and they just rock with it. But Tweez or
Tweez.
Skinner knows. Skinner's
like
one
it.
of those friends. Tweez are. I'm like pretty sure it might just be a Maryland thing. I'm not sure, but they
What up, Skinner?
That's really
That's
funny.
great.
They
Wait, you're in
Skinner's perked
Maryland?
up. No, I'm in New York, but I was I was in Maryland for like when I first got in the hobby for pretty much the first 6 months of quarantine. I moved back home. It literally was like one of those things like because Queens. I'm in Queens in New York. That was like the epicenter of America when COVID first happened. And when it was first coming here, it was kind of getting bad in New York. Like my mom, I remember my mom and my aunt were supposed to come up for the weekend. I can tell you it was March 13th last year. I can tell you the date. And I remember they were supposed to come up, and it was like by Wednesday, I was like, my one coworker didn't come in, and my manager wasn't in. So I'm like, I'm not coming. I'm like, can I work from home like the rest of the week? And she's like, yeah, it's fine. And my mom's like, why don't you just come home for like a week or two? Like, ask your manager. I'm sure they'll be fine with it. You can work from like you can edit from home. Like, I think it's gonna get bad. It's not like this is like looking kind of like weird. So I asked my manager. I'm like, can I come home? Is it cool? She's like, yeah, absolutely. So I just booked a one-way ticket. I just booked a bus ticket home to Maryland. It's only like 3 hours. And by that Sunday, like literally like barely like 48 hours, I realized this was not only going to be a 2-week thing, but possibly like a 2-month thing. And then 3 months, and then another week went by and it was like the summer. It was like I mean, like you remember, I think everyone remembers like how fast like everything seemed to like ramp up. And I ended up staying in Maryland for like 6 months. Because it was no point in coming back to Queens, at least when it first happened.
Yeah.
It was just terrible here.
Queens is nice. It's actually the part of New York City that I'm most familiar with, like the LIC area.
Oh, that's what I'm in Astoria. I'm in Greektown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Is that far away? I've been there a couple times.
It's very close to their neighbors, Long Island City. I remember specifically when I was looking here, and it was like Long Island City. I'm like, I don't want to live in Long Island. Why do these keep coming up? And I'm like, oh, Long Island and Long Island City are two different things.
Oh, yeah.
Astoria goated, the Greek melting pot. I do like Astoria a lot. I'm actually moving to Jersey City. I'll be closer to you. I don't know where in Jersey you are. I know you're not quite Jersey. You're not Jersey City, right?
No, I have a few friends who are in Jersey City though, and it is fairly close to me. I'm in like Parsippany area.
Okay, yeah, I'm like slowly learning the area. If you know anyone with good rent that are looking to offload their apartment in the next 2 months, let me know. But yeah, we're moving. Me and my roommate are moving to Jersey City in November, so I'll be closer to you and Sam.
Oh, cool! Very cool.
Still no car, so it doesn't matter. But
oh. Okay. Yeah, one of my friends, one of my Keep kids, Mally, lives in Jersey City, so sometimes when I'm there, I'll see him. Keep Kids. Do you know about the Keep Kids?
I don't, but it was just funny.
I gotta tell you about the Keep Kids, man.
Please.
Yeah, so like, the Keep Kids started. I feel like I should be better at telling this story now because I've told it so many times. But I was at a New York City mini meet, and then I went with one of my friends, Mally, and also Carne Soup, who's in chat right now. They were both there, and then apparently we got kicked out of the conference room like on the dot at like 5:30 or whatever it was, and I was in the bathroom at this time, and then one of my friends texted me like, hey, your kids are waiting for you. I was just like, oh my gosh, what? So I go there, I get back, and then the room's closed, and then right outside it's just Mally and Carne. Mitlotika's there. They're just like, Mitlottika was the one who texted me. So they were just like holding my stuff, my backpack, my keyboards, and just waiting for me. And I was like, oh my gosh, my kids, like my Keep Kids. And then I realized I had like a set of like close friends and people who were kind of just like a little bit younger than me and kind of looked up to me in the keyboard community. And I was like, you guys are like my Keep Kids. And they really took a liking to that kind of name. And so I have 6 Keep Kids total. And there's 2 OG ones and there's like 4 new age ones. So the 2 OG ones I knew from back when I got into the hobby and kind of like hung out with them a lot, like spotted them to make sure they could get like boards they wanted from Mech Market and like that kind of thing. They were like in high school and college, these 2 guys. And then the new age Keep Kids are these these 4 people who kind of stood out after I started streaming. Like they were around all the time. They were hanging out. We were playing games together, and it kind of just came to be. It kind of just like was a thing that happened, and it's like it's the best thing that's happened to me in keyboards.
Isn't it? It's like, well, it's like weird explaining to people. Like, have you like? I feel like everyone has in this specific hobby, but trying to explain like you have keyboard friends that you've never met, and then you have your real life, your IRL friends, and like I'm going out to LA in October. I'm meeting up with a couple people, and my mom's like, "Who are you seeing?" And I'm like, "Keyboard friends." She's like, "You don't know them," and I'm like, "No, I know them." And she's like, "But you've never met them." And I'm like, "No, I met them like during quarantine." And she's like, "And you're staying with them?" And I'm like, "Well, to be fair, I talk to them more than I talk to like most of my like actual friends back home. Like the vast majority, I talk to them like my keyboard friends that I'm meeting out there like 3 times a week at least."
Yeah, exactly.
It's like a hard thing to explain.
Yeah.
Skinner's offended. Not you, Skinner. Not you.
It's different times now. Like the way we meet people really close and stuff. Yeah.
It is strange, but like even so, like I'd say we are friends, but this is like what maybe the 3rd time I feel like we've actually like spoken. Because I usually see you.
Maybe the first, if I'm honest, like actually conversationally speaking. So
honestly, there's a chance of that, like because that's how it was for JoJo as well. If you're familiar with him, he was another one. Like I think I spoke to them one time in Discord, like conversation. Like we were all just like hanging out, and then I just had him on here. But it's just like I don't know. I guess from like streaming, like you just kind of like know people without realizing it, like a very strange level.
Yeah, for sure. Wait, who's JoJo?
JoJo, Milk Boy. Every time I ask somebody if they know JoJo, they hear he is like the milk carton as his Abby.
Oh, JoJo, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
I swear, I have had this exact conversation with those responses like 4 or 5 times.
It's because you say JoJo, I think JoJo, not like his. Yeah, okay.
JYO, but whatever.
JOH, yeah.
It's like the second I say the second I say Milkman, everyone's like, oh yeah, of course. But I do have to ask real quick, what are you typing on right now? I hear you go, and I'm like...
It is the... Actually, I'm going to quiz you if you know what this is.
Can I see the butt?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I've never seen... I saw the feet, I'm like... I saw the feet, I'm like, I've never seen that before.
Yeah, if you see this, you either know or you don't. There's nothing like it, you know what I mean?
I was like hoping
this coated bottom...
I was hoping to see like a design or something. I'm like, all right,
that just tells you what it is.
no, just
there we go.
Screwed me.
Is this better?
Here's the answer. I've heard of this board.
Yeah, this is the GH-V2.
I've seen it. Like I've seen photos of that, but I didn't even realize.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what key set this is? Quiz question number 2. This is
what I mean. Like, cause you're like kind of OG.
Minimal. I am kind of an OG.
Because you're like OG. Like this is like
I'm just
where
gonna
like
flex it.
me being in this hobby for like a year and a half. This is where it shows. Because I've never even like I saw the WASD and I'm like I have no fucking idea what that is.
You know what? That's from Unique. They have this kit that has just these 4. Just these 4, and then like a bunch of modifiers on the bottom that are different colors. Anyway, this is GMK Pristine. It uses L9 beige. A lot of people think it's minimal.
I always get my guess would have been minimal. Like that is like the closest. That's so funny.
Minimal has only text mods, so you can tell that it's different. Also, it's L9, which you can't really tell from here because the white balance is all off. But yeah.
So what are the switches?
These are MX blacks, Vint blacks.
Okay, those are loud. Those are like super clacky blacks.
Yeah, I think it's part of the board, maybe.
It might be. I have them in. I have Vince in a. It's the Lanor prototype, the LW67, and like I feel like I've only done 2 builds with Vince, and they usually sound a little quieter, but they are clacky. Like it's a Vince build. That's pretty loud though.
Mm-hmm. I think pretty much all my boards are built with MX blacks. They all sound different based on the board too.
I think I'm starting to realize like if you have like a good set of Vince, like that's like a great way to like test out a board's like salt.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
exactly. How did you like get in the hobby though?
I first got in the hobby back when I picked up a Quickfire Rapid because it was on sale on Amazon for like $60 back in the day, and I was like, "Oh, this seems like a cool mechanical." This was like 2015 or 2013, 2012 when I bought the board, and so I found Geek Hack, and there was a customization thread for the GHV. Sorry, the Quickfire Rapid specifically. Like, people were taking the top plastic piece off and like painting it and stuff. So I sanded mine and painted it and put on a set of blank white PPT caps. I still have it. It's like has MX blues, and I used that board for a while. And then I got really into the hobby later in end of 2017. One of my friends asked me like, "Oh, like tell me more about your keyboard, or where should I look to get into keyboards?" And then I was like, "Oh, check out Geek Hack and check out this subreddit." And then I was like, "Yo, keyboards are kind of cool. Like, things have changed a lot since I was last like customizing a keyboard." And that's when I got into it. So 2018, basically the start of all 2018 to now.
It's like fun. Like 2018, like isn't that long ago? But if you got a keyboard in 2018, like you are like a veteran at this point. That's what I've learned. Like if you're pre 2019, like you are a pillar in this community.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
different time back then.
I think I just like lurked. I guess like lurked RMK for years, and then just like COVID hit, and I think like me as well as probably like 50% of the community now are like, I'm bored. Keyboards look fun. Let's go.
Yeah,
and here we are.
That's awesome.
You were definitely one of the first people I like started. Like I was watching you a little more consistently when I like started watching Twitch streamers. I'd say it was like I'd say my first three were like Minthily, Alex, and Teja. And then when I started like explore, I think I don't even remember how I found you. I just remember like finding your Twitch and like, oh, let's do vibes. And then about 2 to 3 times in, I'm like watching him like, does that guy have a microwave on his bed?
Yeah.
Which leads me to my next question.
Yes, go for it.
So for this, it's not still there, is it? Please tell me it's still there. Please tell me it's still there.
All right, hold on.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, if it's still there, it's amazing.
All right, there it is.
It's just,
showing there.
Is this why you have the NVIDIA? So people, is it the camera lens or is it NVIDIA?
Oh, it's the camera.
You have it blurred out on purpose.
I don't mind showing it. I want to make a clarification for people who don't know, because this is hilarious. It's called, people have coined it the bed crowave because like it's on the bed. But here's the thing. Occasionally, people will come up out of nowhere and be like, "Wait, it's actually on the mattress?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "What? I thought it was on a shelf next to the bed, and that's why you called it the bed crowave." I was like, no. Let's not be uncertain about this. It's on the mattress with a printer on top too.
So I have a couple questions. One, why?
Okay, so I have a full-size bed, which like is bigger than I need. Like, I'm happy to sleep on a twin, and this mattress was just given to me when I moved into rent from here. So I eventually just started using the other side of the bed for stuff like this bean bag. That was the main thing. It's like I had a bean bag there, so I could just lean on it and watch like stuff on my computer.
Sure.
And then I was like, I want a microwave to make popcorn. I don't really have somewhere to put it, so I'm just gonna put it over there, and that's it. That's as glamorous as the story gets.
Is it like, because you have like in your part, don't you have roommates?
I have a house. Yeah, so I'm renting from a family friend a bedroom.
Okay.
And yeah,
now
there's a housemate across the hall.
Okay. Now, is there not like a microwave in the house?
There is, but it's so far away. Also, I don't want to be using it at like 2 a.m. when I have. So
you want to have
craving, you know?
You do like your. I was gonna ask you about this in a little bit, but okay. So, is it just the bed? Is this the best spot to have it on? Is that just like the most?
Yeah, there's kind of not a lot of space in my room, to say the least.
So rock the microwave on top of the. Have you ever like had any like scares where like you toss and turn in the middle of the night and you almost just launch a printer / microwave combo? You might have the only printer microwave combo in at possibly America. I'm willing to guarantee the state of New Jersey. The state of New
That's
Jersey. I refuse to believe that
actually kind of true.
I refuse to.
I like
there's.
that.
I'm willing to say in America there may be one other person that on their bed they have a microwave with a printer on top, but in the state of New Jersey, I refuse to believe there's anyone else.
Dude, that's pretty good. I want to put that on my resume.
I'd say on the East Coast, but I'm willing to bet someone in Florida has that exact setup. So I can't do that to you.
Yeah. So what makes it better or worse, depending on how you think about it, is like it's a memory foam mattress. It's like a Tempur-Pedic mattress, and so it kind of like it's a little sideways because it's sinking into the memory foam. So when I open the door,
it's like the wine challenge. Like when you jump on the bed, the wine won't spill. So but instead, it's the microwave won't tip.
It's tipping. You can see it's leaning like ever so slightly. When I open the door, I have to kind of like it scrapes against the mattress. It's so bad. Oh man,
It's like the most cursed thing I've ever seen. Like I remember, I think I was literally in your stream, and I'm just like, "Is that a microwave on your mattress?" And you're like, "Yeah," but like you said it so casually. Like,
yeah.
like what do you mean? Like, do you not have a mattress microwave? Like, I'm confused.
Imagine not having one here. A bit more in focus to take in the glory of it. Yeah, my bed's a mess. Don't look at it.
It's the simulation is crazy.
Wait, what do you mean?
That's what Burley said. He's just like the simulation is crazy.
All right, so back to keyboards. This is my very first mech. This is the one I was talking about, where I spray painted the top and
wow.
put PBT caps on.
Oh, lovely. Is that can I get? Is that from WASD keys?
No, actually, this was right
Okay.
around when they were beginning. This was just from eBay or something.
Okay.
This was back when WASD keyboards was just getting into like making custom caps and stuff, I think.
I remember when I did my first build, I did a KBD 75 V2, and I got GMK, Red Samurai. Honestly, beautiful board, by the way. Yours, beautiful board.
Thank you.
But the Red Samurai set that I got from Amazon doesn't have like any. It's so bare bones. Like it is actually like the worst thing you can get, because if you want to do anything that's not like a normal keyboard, you're fucked. Like they don't give you anything. No short shift. They don't give you one modifiers. Nothing. Like you are left to your devices. So I had to order from
which
WA's. This is a KBD 75 V2 that I built with.
Right.
I had the TKL kit from Drop for Red Samurai, which is like their only in stock at the time GMK set. The problem was it doesn't come with anything. Like it comes with it comes with enough for a TKL, but like no short shift, no 1U mods. Like you are screwed if you want to do anything besides like every TKL you've ever seen. So
Gotcha.
I didn't even come with like a 7U spacebar. Like nothing. Like it really was like as simple as you can get. So I had to order from WASD keys like a bunch of 1U caps and like just like a blank, which I still have.
Oh, that's great.
Now I'm trying to decide which I want to start with, but I'll start with this just so we can get off the microwave talk. So popcorn is just your favorite food, right?
It is. If I had to pick a single favorite food, I absolutely love popcorn. Actually, I should say movie theater popcorn. I don't like kettle corn. I don't like most microwave popcorns. I don't like most in-bag popcorns. I like them. It's just not like the same as like the premier movie theater popcorn, the way they make it.
Now, like, do you guys like recreate it at home? You're like, I just need to get like, are you guys going like, I can't remember what the brand is, but they have like, it's like the movie theater popcorn you get that's microwavable. They had like Blockbuster. That's all I remember.
That one is Pop Secret, and a lot of brands actually say movie theater style or movie theater butter, but I think the secret to movie theater popcorn is this salt, this very, very, very fine salt that they use called Flavacol. which is just like this little salt thing. So you can buy it. But
I can tell.
it's difficult to actually have it. I'm sure you could look this up, but like it's difficult to actually get it to stick because I only have an air popper. So the popcorn comes out dry, but you need it to be a little bit like, I don't know, oiled, I guess, or like the salt has to be added in while it's popping out of that like bucket thing, the tin thing in the machine, in order for it to like be part of the popcorn, you know? So there's kind of a formula with how they make it. It's not just like the ingredients. Well, it is just the ingredients, but they have to put it together a certain way. And like, I think you need that like thing that you put the kernels into and it kind of pops it and they come out. You know what I mean?
You need the mechanism.
Yeah. You need that like pot thing.
I'm like, I have borderline have a bone to pick with movie theaters, or because I love getting popcorn to go to the movie theaters, but I swear 9 times out of 10 it's stale. I feel like I don't know if I'm just like terrible luck. I feel like I never get like good popcorn, and like whenever I get to the bottom, it's like shitty kernels and just like I'm sitting like, how am I getting kernels when like you guys have like a container that is the size of me filled with popcorn? Like, how do I consistently get the shit end of this?
Wait, do you go to AMC? Or
yes,
do you go to
actually, I actually go to AMC. Do they have?
That's
do
interesting. They have consistently good popcorn from my experience. There's only one time it was too
salty. It's
great, and it's never been stale from me. So I don't know. That's really interesting.
I might just have bad luck. I swear, it's whenever I get it, I'm getting like the shit end of the stick on whatever popcorn they've got there.
Seems like it. Unfortunately.
You live in Astoria and don't go to Kaufman. To be fair, movies just reopened, and I moved to Astoria right when COVID hit. So I didn't really have much. It's Kaufman. They have a theater. It's a theater. They do. I know it's a dance studio. And Andy Kaufman, I think, funds it. Put it on. I'm kind of confused on it. Andy Kaufman. Who is Andy Kaufman? Andy Kaufman, he's in the industry. I think he did dance studios. This is like something I feel like I should know living so close to it. American performance artist and wrestler. Are they different people? This actually might not be the same thing. I just think it's Andy Kaufman put it on. This actually could not be. Actually could be two totally different people, and I'm just an idiot. I always thought Andy Kaufman did it, but I could be wrong. I'll have to get back to you on that one.
That's fine. Wait, is he a movie person?
Yeah, Andy Kaufman. It says he was a comedian and a wrestler, which is
interesting mix of things. The heck. I forgot I had McDonald's, so I'm gonna eat McDonald's. This is gonna be amazing.
Kaufman Astoria Film Studio, located in Astoria section, New York City, borough of Queens. This has nothing to do with Andy Kaufman. It started in the 1920s. This has nothing to do with Andy Kaufman. So ignore me. But I got McDonald's on this weekend. It was pretty good. I had a really diabolical day of like, I went to a you and me actually both went to our first concerts like since COVID very recently.
Ooh, where'd you go? Who'd you see?
I went to Ashbury Park actually. I saw Bleachers on Saturday. But we woke up.
Never heard of them.
Bleachers is good if you're into like indie rock. If you like and Glass Animals is a different kind of indie. They remind me of how do I say it? They're definitely inspired by Springsteen. They sound like a late 90s or late 80s, early 90s band. They got teleported to like 2020 and are like, how do we make music? And this is like what they're rolling with, but they're really good. What band is this? This is Bleachers. It's Jack Antonoff's band, if anyone's familiar with him. But we woke up. My buddy stayed over. He came up from Maryland, stayed the night. Woke up. We had coffee. We got McDonald's on the way down around 1 o'clock. We consumed 3 to 4 beers at the concert because it was like a festival. It was like an all-day thing. And then we got back around midnight and ate Taco Bell. And that's all I had for the day. And 1 bottle of water. That's what I had for the entire day. My body somehow didn't like just disintegrate in my sleep, which I think is just a great start to the evening.
Always good.
So real quick, just to backtrack to popcorn. So is that like, were you always like for like your branding for Twitch and everything just like everything's got to be chibi popcorn. Also, is this a character or did someone draw this up for you?
Um, popcorn is not really in my branding, I think.
Is
Is
this
it?
not?
Yeah,
Is
you
this
tell me.
is that not popcorn?
Oh, that's just a mug, I think.
No. Your like that character itself.
Oh.
Is that not
Uh,
supposed to? That's a shrimp. I thought it was
Yeah,
supposed to
so-
be a popcorn kernel this whole time. But it was popcorn.
So the history of this goes back like maybe like 7 years, 6 years or something. My friend was going to Japan. I dropped them off at the airport and picked them up, and it was like super late or something. So they were like, "Oh my gosh, like, can I get you something for Japan?" And I was like, "Well, I like cute stuff, and maybe you can get me a stuffed animal. I want it to be about yay big, like not too big and not too small, just kind of like about the size of like, oh whatever, a venti grande from Starbucks, for lack of a better thing. Anyway, so she came back with this.
Give it a venti sized plushie, please.
She came back with here we go. All right, this guy in plushie form. And I was like, awesome. And it took me like a whole week before I looked at the little tag and realized it's a tempura shrimp.
I am
He's
so
actually
stupid.
right over there.
I am
No,
so
no, no.
stupid.
You are far from the first person and definitely not going to be the last who did not. I didn't understand it either. I thought it was like a chicken because it has like, like, I don't know. I'm not really sure. People have all sorts of different things. But it's a shrimp. And it's part of a Sanrio licensed group of characters called Sumiko Garashi, which I put in chat. And it's like a whole family of like this dinosaur, this cat, the shrimp, a
Oh,
a tempura pork thing.
I have. Hold up. Wait a minute.
It's the best. Polar bear. I knew I was missing one. He's part of the Elite Four. Thank you, Tiff.
I can't dox myself because my phone number's on this.
Yo, you got the dinosaur!
So I'm trying to remember. I think I'm really
That's
close
the
to the mic. Wait, that's so funny. Oh my god, that's nuts. Okay, so I think it was the third time Sharu ran her Kitsune mask keycap. Like, it was last summer. It was like right when she started making them. I think I got in on the third sale because I saw it on Reddit. And she sent along a nice handwritten note and that sticker. Had no idea what it was from. Like, this is the cutest sticker ever. And I saved it. I'm like, I'm going to put this in my notebook. Had no idea what it was from. Wait, that is so fun.
Now
like,
you know.
This feels like small world stuff. That's actually kind of nuts. That's actually real. That's crazy. Oh my god, I'm like devastated that it's not. I thought it was a popcorn kernel. Like, it's like it's supposed to be like this whole for like a year now. I'm like, oh, it's
For a whole year.
Dude, I've been.
That's amazing.
Dude, I started watching you like last summer. I've never questioned it. I'm like, oh, it's a popcorn kernel. Good luck. Guy loves popcorn. It makes complete sense. I'm like, maybe it gets like a bow in his hair or something. Like, I didn't question it.
Yeah, that does make sense. That does make sense.
Absolutely unbelievable.
Wow.
I refute. No, it's still a popcorn kernel. I'm
shook your world. You can think it's a popcorn. That's okay.
Oh no! That's not a shrimp. That's popcorn. There's nothing you can do to make me like change my mind. Like, they're wrong. I'm
it's
honestly,
interpretive art, really.
I'm like a little pissed, just a little, but it's fine. That's actually so
That's
funny.
great.
All right. All right.
Oh,
so
it makes sense now. It all makes sense now.
no,
Popcorn
this is
branding.
like this really did like just shake my world. I'm embarrassed to say I wish I was kidding, but
That's okay.
I love that I like had like some kind of like stupid connection to it too. The the fact that I have a dinosaur stick, I saw it. I'm like, wait, I know this guy.
Yeah, that's great. Did you just look it up right now?
I plugged them in. I'm like, I want to see if like I've seen this before, and I'm like, holy shit, I know this dinosaur.
Dinosaur. That's great. I have a plushie of him over there on my shelf.
Oh,
A lot of people just gifted me like these various characters from the Sumiko series.
Do you have like a lot of plushies? Do you have like a lot of plushies, or?
I've downsized over the years. I'm only keeping my favorites. I had too many before.
Do you like do you have like any other collections like plush like figurines or anything like that, or is it just kind of like keyboards and some plushies?
Just a few plushies only. Yeah. My sister crocheted me this cockatiel guy, which is pretty great. So I can grab that in a sec if you want to see. I have one Funko Pop, and that's it.
I
I actually have
ju-
two Funko Pops at work, but you know.
I actually did. I actually got one. It's funny. I have essentially put away all my Funko Pop. I only had like 5 or 6 in here. I've essentially put them all away. I did just get one in that I bought specifically because I want to put it on my desk at work, and it came in today. I haven't bought a Funko Pop in like a year. I'm a big One Piece guy, and I saw they did a new Trafalgar Law release. I don't know if you watch One Piece, but
I have not. I know what it is.
the only other, so this character specifically, he has one other Funko Pop. He's my favorite character in the series. But his other Funko Pop goes for like $300.
Dang, what the heck?
And and there's nothing in this world that you can do to convince me that that is worth the price. But I saw they were doing pre-orders. They did another one. I'm like, oh sweet, I'll order this, and I got to take to work with me.
That's great.
I also have, I don't know if you ever, they have snails that are called transponder snails in the show. That's like their phones. This is that character's phone.
Oh, yo.
I got this on AliExpress for like $15. It came in like 2 days ago.
Nice.
If you still, I hope if Snoop Dogg is not here, I'll ask anyway. What did you read last, or what are you currently reading? If you are reading anything, I don't know if you're a reader or not.
I read very, very sporadically. I like the idea of reading, but I like very rarely sit down to read. I have like
God, that's how I am.
I think that's how a lot of people are, to be fair. I read a lot of poetry. So you followed my poetry Instagram earlier today.
Yeah.
I read poetry. I write poetry. I have a little small like 7-book kind of setup on my desk for easy access. Most of them are poetry books. There's a book on Stoicism that I'm still reading through. A book about photography, a book about art, and then Ayn Rand's book, The Fountainhead, which I read one chapter of. Does any of that sound familiar?
No, but this does kind of like lead well. So I made a goal for myself this year to read 3 books, which, to be honest, is a lot. I don't think I've read a full book front to back in probably like 8 years. It's been a while. But I did start. I've actually picked up, because on the subways now I used to watch shows, and I was just getting like a little fried watching like a show on the way to and then on the way back from work. So I started reading, and I plowed through 1 book already. I'm about halfway through. I don't know if you watch soccer at all, but I had the autobiography of this player named Andrea Pirlo, who's my favorite midfielder of all time. But the first book I did read was this one. Her by Pierre Alex Gianti. I don't know if you've ever heard of this one. It's a poetry book. That's the only reason I like brought it up specifically. But it's about like, I don't know, love. I stopped talking to a girl and was like borderline depressed for about a month, and I'm like I saw this guy on TikTok. I'm like, I gotta read this, and I plowed through it in one night. Probably cried 3 times. It was great. Great read if you're into love.
Yeah. Yeah, that's poetry for you, man.
But yeah, I did. I'll actually lead into that. Before we get into that, actually, because that'll probably take up the rest of this, but because I feel like I have to ask about this.
Mm-hmm.
I know the answer is probably just practice, but how does it feel to know that you're easily the fastest typer in the mechanical keyboard community, or one of? Because I remember the first time I realized that you typed fast, my jaw dropped.
I wish I could say it's just practice, but I think that, there haven't been like really like studies or like science really done on this, but I don't think it's a coincidence that all the fast typists I've spoken with, including myself, grew up taking piano lessons and playing piano. So I think there's something about like finger structure specifically. I noticed that I have always typed with my hands kind of like this, like fingers almost pointing straight down and like relatively curved, which is closer to how you play piano. Whereas most people I see who talk to me about keyboards and stuff, if they haven't played piano, their hands are more like a little more flat. So then, for example, like left control, I use my left control to the left of A, whereas people like it on the bottom left where it is default. And they're like, oh, I hit it with my pinky. It's right there. Like, I don't know how to switch over to where caps lock is. And I was like, wait a sec. when I put my hand on home row, it's like this, and then the controls right here. It's right next to A. But then I realized that my fingers are in line because they're kind of curved, whereas like for other people, like the A is up here, but then the control is down here. So it makes sense for them because their hands are a little bit more flat with how they type, if that makes sense. So anyway, looping back.
That's I was just I don't know if you I'm like sitting here with my hands on the keyboard. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, if you rest on home row, where's your pinky rest? Or like
A.
which one? Okay.
My pinky sits on A.
Okay, so sorry. When we're talking about gaming and we're using WASD, you use A on your ring finger, right?
Yeah.
At that point, where does your pinky rest when you're gaming? Okay, so I would say that that's more in line with like my experience. Whereas some people I've talked with, some of my friends, they're like, oh, when I'm gaming with WASD, like my pinky is more like by lower left control.
That's like this feels like uncomfortable. Like out my thumb, like when I do game, because like all of like whatever like commands, my pinky kind of controls that. I think that goes for a lot of people. Yeah. But I shift up and down, so it makes sense to keep it in caps lock. That's interesting. I didn't realize. Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. But I do think having a background of piano helps with like kind of finger dexterity. Just literally moving it a lot over the years and just having that kind of control, so to speak. It's weird to describe it as something that's intentionally learned, but rather it's like a byproduct of just like playing music and kind of having notes and rhythm. And it's very similar to typing the more I think about it, where it's like you need to type things in order and you need to like you have a better sense of like where your fingers are when they're pressing down, because in piano, for example, like in fast passages you need to be really precise. And then in fast typing, you also need to be precise because you don't want to be making mistakes or typing a certain letter before another one. So there's a certain coordination of both hands that's involved as well.
Now, like,
but to answer your question, like, I recognize that it's sort of like for people who are keyboard enthusiasts, I think I am like pretty up there. But it feels a little weird for me to be like bragging about it in a sense because like there are plenty of people who are faster, as evidenced by like the monkey type leaderboards and like type racer competition tournaments that I've watched over the years. So it is cool. I'm just happy to like help people learn to type faster if they want.
Because you have a blog, correct? I know you've done like straight up like seminars on speed typing.
That's right. Yeah, I have a blog, Choobies.wordpress. I share all my speed typing tips in there. And the last update was like 2 years ago, but it's not because I'm lazy. It's because I don't have any other tips to share. It's all in there in like 8 posts. Everything I can possibly think about speed typing, I put in there.
It's just out there for the world now.
It's just out there.
What's
I'm always happy to talk about it.
What do you have? Like, what is like? Do you know what do you average words per minute?
If I do a 60-second monkey type test,
60 seconds is a law. That's how I look at it.
I say 60 seconds is like the real deal. You know,
yeah.
15 second is a good estimate of like how fast you could potentially go because you're kind of just like full on sprint bursting at that point.
It's so like it's literally track and field. It's track and field events. It is. That's all it is to me. It's track and field events, depending what the distance is.
Yeah. For 60 second, if I get under a 160, I'll feel like I messed up. If I'm like, oh, that should never happen, just statistically. If I'm like in the zone and I'm just like, okay, I'm doing a typing test, let's get it done. Like I should get a 170. If I hit a really good run, I should get a 180 to 185. I mean, my record is like 183. So
I was about to ask,
really good run is pretty intense.
That was gonna be the next question, like what your fast. Yeah. So it's 183 is like your fastest time.
Yeah, for 60 seconds.
That is so gross. Like I hit like 110. I'm like, wow, good job, Noli. But like
that's good. That's good. Over 100 is a good checkpoint.
I don't remember
100, 120, and then 140 are my mental checkpoints for like when you reach certain checkpoints in speed typing.
I think you posted it. I'm trying to remember where I saw it. I may have saw it on your Twitch recently. I literally watched it yesterday. I don't remember where I just saw it. You may have posted it on your story or something. I think literally the craziest thing I've ever seen you do was literally I just saw it yesterday or 2 days ago. You were typing on 2 different keyboards, one being an Alice and one regular cross-armed. and you're
Yeah.
still hitting every key and averaging like 160. And I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck is happening? Like, astonished.
Well, it's really the same thing. If you try it sometime, like your hands are separate to begin with. It doesn't really matter that they're on one board. It's just a mental hurdle to get over, if that makes sense.
It's I think it's the fact that it's like I'm watching you do it, and it's not like I can get like doing it and like being a little slower, but I'm like, you're still typing like just as fast, and like not like you're like, there was like 2 mistakes in like the clip I watched. I'm like, this dude's a fucking superhuman at typing. Unbelievable.
Thanks,
Just unreal. But this actually isn't I guess there's two. Well, I have a follow-up question from before, but are you classically trained in piano? Because this is news to me. I had no idea that you played.
Oh yeah, I took classical lessons for 10 years. And
That's
so I
crazy.
did recitals and stuff. So I played a bunch of classical pieces from Chopin and Beethoven and
You and
whatever
Straight
these
Chroma
other-
should start a group.
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of just Asians, I think, have grown up either playing like piano or clarinet or flute or something.
She was fun fact. I learned this when she was on her episode of Noli Friends, but she was a national champ at viola.
Oh shoot, that's crazy.
Goes talented.
That's pretty
Both
cool.
of you.
Yeah.
Ah,
I could see it.
So Choobies, A-class typer, A-class piano player. Noted. But I did
Piano
wanna-
for me was just something that like my parents made me do growing up, and I appreciate it. I really wanted to quit like halfway. So I started off okay, and then it really plummeted. I was like begging my parents to quit. That was like in middle school, and then they were like, "No, we're not gonna let you quit." And then I started to like it again after about a year. There was about a year really, really down. Like I hated it because I was a middle schooler and stuff. But then after that, I was like, man, I really appreciated that my parents put me through piano lessons. They didn't let me quit. It's good for like the brain. It's good for typing inadvertently, I guess. I didn't know I was a fast typist until I got into keyboards and like participated in like a type racer tournament that they hosted at this meetup. And I was like, oh shoot, like
I'm
cool.
good at
I have
this.
something to bring to the community and like share tips and stuff like that.
Were you just like off the bat just like touch typing and absolutely cooking it, or was it like a bit of a process?
I learned touch typing there was a typing class that we had in middle school, like in 7th or 8th grade, where they gave us like this like kind of like a personal keyboard with like a little calculator screen that had text on it, and it had like programs built in that did like typing lessons and stuff like that. So that's where I learned like
Interesting.
home row typing technique, and that actually set like my fundamentals, I think, from that point on. I think everybody, I know it's not up to them when you're in middle school and stuff, but I think everybody would benefit from taking like a typing course like that at a young age, because then you just really set your trajectory moving forward. But even then, it's not too late, like no matter what. So friendship here in chat, he's one of my friends who I met through work because we hired him into our department. And then he was kind of like maybe use like 2 or 3 fingers in each hand or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then he met me and we got into keyboards, and then I was like, hey, like, you should maybe consider relearning typing from the ground up and just starting over. And he was like, oh, I'm a little worried, like I don't want to like whatever. And then I was like, I think it'll be really good for you. It'll be just a couple months and like you'll pick it up real quick. Like muscle memory is really not that like bad to undo. And then everybody that like has relearned typing has come away from it saying they're so glad that they did, and thank you so much for encouraging me and pushing me to do it. And so he's one of those people too. So now he's like into like the 100 110 range after relearning on KeyBR and Monkey Type and whatever other websites there were that taught typing.
I think
So
I
always
literally-
recommend it to everyone.
I preach the same thing because I think when I first got into the I never thought about typing like before I started building a keyboard, and it took me a while to discover Monkey Type. I was using Type Racer a lot, but I was probably averaging like 80 to 90 words per minute. But I would my left hand, I'd say I was kind of touch typing, like I was probably like 70% of the way there, but my right hand I was chicken pecking. I only did my index finger. Somehow, I remember my buddy was like, "How the hell are you like pinpointing where the keys are?" Because somehow I wasn't missing. It was just like I could only go so fast with one hand. I remember I was so confused. I'm like, I don't understand. Like, I'm right-handed. I don't know why I'm so much better at typing with my left hand. They're like, because you game. And I'm like, oh, that's right. My
That's
hand
what came
moves.
to my mind first.
Literally, like, I didn't even think of it. I'm like, oh yeah, I do play video games. Like, that definitely has something to do with it.
Yep.
But I think it was Type Ninja. I think that's the website.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember what the website was. I was just looking at like online typing lessons, and all the websites were so boring. But I found this one called Type Ninja. I think it was something like that. But I'm like, okay, I can do this, and I started like kind of like really practicing and doing the lessons. I would keep tabs on each lesson, 'cause if not, you had to restart the whole thing. So I would keep tabs on the link to like the latest lesson, and I would just keep doing it. I remember vividly last summer, my parents went out to dinner. It's like a Saturday night. They came back. I didn't like make plans or anything. I was just kind of like chilling at home, like doing stuff. And they came home around like midnight. My dad, little buzzed off wine. You know, had a good night on town with mom. Comes in, he's like, "What you doing, bud?" And I'm like, "I'm learning how to type." He's like, "Wait, really?" Like he was like, "Wow, you're doing something productive." And I'm just sitting there like a kid, like learning how to type. And it was brutal. It was awful. I remember like I was averaging like 50. I'm like, wow, let's climb our way back up. And like that, like now, like I could never go. Like I find it crazy that I used to like chicken peck. Like learning how to touch type was like a revolutionary thing to me. Like, I'm on monkey type like every day. Like I feel like it's just like one of those like it's not even like I want to practice. It's just like I'm bored. Let's go do like 3-4 rounds of monkey type and call it a day.
Dude, that's great. A lot of my friends do that too, and it's funny because like I don't know what people expect of me specifically, but like when I think they're usually a little surprised when I tell them I never monkey type outside of stream.
Really?
I have no interest in doing it. I think it's because like I want to beat my record, but I don't like the feeling of like practicing and not beating it. But also I'm kind of just like, it just doesn't particularly interest me that much.
This is what happens when you reach the pinnacle. This is what happens when you reach the pinnacle. Monkey type is boring.
It's sort of at the point where the returns are diminishing. You know, if I like typed 200 consistent. Well, here's the thing, right? When I type a single blurb, like 1 sentence, 2 sentence in Discord, it probably comes out like a 200 to 220 raw, like words per minute, because I don't have to sustain that for 60 seconds. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So it's plenty fast, and like speeding up more, I guess, wouldn't really do anything for me. It feels like it's just way too difficult to get faster where I am right now, and I have no particular desire to. So I have no real need to like do monkey type. You know what I mean?
That's fair. I think for me, it's like I don't even think it's like I think like it's literally just like brain go burr type in monkey type. Like I don't know.
Do you have the cat that like hits the thing? I recently learned about that. There's like an animation of a cat. So if you go into console and you type like, oh gosh, I don't know, maybe in someone chat knows, but like you can enable this like the monkey, not a cat. It's the monkey that does the bongo cat thing.
How do we find this?
Yeah, how do we enable this?
How do we enable this? I might have you message me. I might have you message me on Discord. Type in monkey.
Type in
like,
monkey on console,
like
maybe?
literally?
I don't know if it's console. I mean, you press escape, and then you can go into settings, or something like that.
Oh my god.
And you turn on the monkey.
Oh my god.
And he's just like, oh
my god, yes, his eyes
his eyes go red.
He's the best. And does it keep? It still keeps all my stats. Oh my god, you should not have told me. This is the best thing ever. Oh, this is the best thing ever.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, friendship, though. I didn't even have it on. Like,
I think I say this once a stream, but I'm like, this is why I wanted to do, or once a podcast. This is why I did this podcast, so I can learn things. This is so far. This is what I've taken away. This is the big thing I've taken away from it. Absolutely
good.
Unreal.
That's a good one.
I'm
all about like nifty life hack-ish kind of things. I really like using like shortcuts and like keyboard shortcuts specifically. Kind of like power user, whatever that means. I really like having like Discord shortcuts specifically, like Control T, Control K, Control E, Control R, like everything.
I don't do Discord shortcuts that much, but I guess like literally like I like live by Control AXCV. Like I live by like at least like for like video editing, like they are everything. I use like those ones specifically so much. Learning Control A. I learned Control A, I think, till like a year ago, and it was like the biggest revelation of my life. I'm like, this is the best thing ever. Who the fuck wants to highlight everything? I'm like, Control A that bitch. This is amazing.
Yeah, it's great.
Oh, Control S. Oh, I like live and die by Control S. Every time I make more than like 2 cuts in Premiere, Control S, Control S, Control S. Um,
When you're typing specifically, so I covered some of this in a post on my blog, but I really like Control Backspace and Control Delete because those backspace entire words and delete entire words. Also, if you use Control arrows, you can move
wow.
entire words instead of a single character. And if you use Shift, it highlights. So you can combine those two if you want. You can use Shift on its own. You can use Control on its own. You can use Control and Shift, and then you can highlight entire words.
I should really learn. I should really learn that. For someone who works on a computer on a very regular basis, I should probably learn all of this. I'm learning so much.
Could be neat. Could be useful. Yeah.
Could be good.
It depends how much you care about like super optimizing and being really efficient at like whatever productivity.
But it's kind of sick though.
I will say for Discord, I highly recommend learning a few shortcuts. One being Control K or Control T. They do the same thing, so you only really learn one. Control T you can do with one hand, so that's kind of nice. But when you can Control T, it's like a search for everything in your Discord. So if you start typing something, it'll show up channels, servers, people, and then I do that whenever I need to go PM somebody instead of like scrolling through and looking for someone's name or whatever. And if you can
so
further
smart.
specify, yeah, so I'll Control T and type like MANO, and then your name will pop up first because you're my friend, and then I'll just press enter, and then I can send you a PM immediately. It's already there. It's super, super nice. It's probably the single shortcut that I would recommend if you could only pick one. Control T/K, either one.
I feel like I owe you money. I do. Like this is definitely very Googleable, but I feel like I owe you money for opening.
If you go into Discord and do Control/, it shows up all your windows. Or sorry, all the shortcuts for Discord.
I keep going to do it now, and then I remember that if I do anything on Discord, it's gonna fuck with your screen, so I can't. I'm like restraining myself.
Oh, it'll be fine. The call's stable. Anyway, we can talk about it anytime. I love shortcuts for Windows, for Discord, anything. I'll share everything I know.
This is now Tech Tip Tuesdays. Hello, Venom. How are you, honey? I do, just because we're getting to the hour, but I do want to touch on this. So
sure.
I'm going to hard shift this conversation. How did you get into poetry? I like from the start. I love how like from the start this is why I want to get into it. And it's just like how derailed everything has gotten in the best way.
Yeah.
But like how did like I don't know. I like how do you find poetry? Like I don't think poetry is an uncommon hobby, but I think it's a very interesting one because I don't think a lot of people are like you are very committed to the hobby from what I can tell, or at least like. You're a little more.
I'm trying to think about how often I post it on Instagram. It's like once a year.
No, but like I'd say like not to say like committed.
I'm into it. Yeah,
that is
very into it
because like you're into it enough to have made a dedicated Instagram. You have a layout. I had no like I knew you liked poetry. I didn't even know you had an Instagram until today. And like, oh wow, like this is laid out. This is nice. Like I like you. He for those of you who don't know, he has a also well you can plug away too. But on his poetry Instagram, he has his the individual poem, and then he does prop photos with it. Did they? I didn't have a chance to go through too many of them, but like, do all the props have something to do with in each individual poem, or is it just kind of like?
There you go. So
Preston poetry.
Yes, Preston poetry. So this is all my handwriting, by the way, just in case there was any doubt. I handwrote all these and took the picture and put the prop myself. Pick this side. So it's okay. So to answer your question, I got into poetry because probably like this one specific relationship that I broke up with this girl, and then I was so heartbroken. This was like maybe 2016. I was just absolutely devastated, and I wanted to just write my feelings out. I had so many feelings. It's just like, oh my gosh, feelings just everywhere. Like I want to tell people, I want to post something, I want to write something, I just want to express it and like give it an outlet. And so I started just writing. I actually didn't think I'm going to write some poems. I just thought I just want to write. I just want to get things down into paper and like have an outlet. And then it ended up being just lots of blurbs and like chunks of words. And then I was like, hey, these are kind of like poems. Let me just kind of make them into poems. So I wrote like that for a couple months to process the breakup and go through all that. And then I actually like, I put them onto like sort of this little So the collection is called Unjam. And I actually printed out these pages and I brought them to Staples, and then I had them bind it for me into a little chapbook of poems, which totally was not the vision or the goal from the beginning. But I was like,
Oh,
this is
wow.
kind of a cool little thing. And then I actually wasn't quote unquote into poetry for a good half year after that, because I was like, I don't have any more feelings, so I don't have any more need to write. But then after about half a year, I was like, poetry's kind of cool. Maybe I should just write for the sake of writing, because I do like poetry. And that's when I started my Instagram. So everything in here is pre-Instagram, which I'm still happy to share. It's just incredibly like emotional stuff. And then I started my Instagram and I started writing. So you'll see in the very, very beginning, if you scroll all the way back, it's like there's a handful of posts that are just kind of like general. And then each time I change template, it sort of has to do with like a different season of my life and the feelings I felt during that season. And then when it was a different season, I just kind of inadvertently changed the template to something else. But yeah, each of the props, to relate to the most recent season of writing, you could say each of the props, I try to relate a bit to the theme of the poem and what's going on in the writing. Because I feel like the props just sort of help to enhance the meaning of it a bit, give you something to kind of look at and to think about. It didn't used to be props. Like before this one, the template was. I also had people draw doodles for me. So I asked some of my friends, like, hey, here's a piece. Would you be willing, whatever you can think of that you can draw, like, doesn't have to be fancy or crazy or anything, just some small thing. And then they drew for me, which was really, really awesome. And I got to use their art also for the pieces.
If you ever write one about Gary the Snail, I draw a killer snail. Very specifically.
Who's Gary the Snail?
Oh my god, have you never seen SpongeBob?
I haven't watched SpongeBob. Not really. Like I've seen snippets of it, but okay, so I haven't watched a lot of things that most cultured people have watched. For example, SpongeBob, Naruto, One Piece.
Did you guys are we putting SpongeBob, Naruto, and One Piece in the same category? No. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
So I don't know. Are they the same category? Are they not?
How old are you, Choobies?
I'm 31.
You are in the
32.
range. You were in the range for SpongeBob. You were in the ballpark range for SpongeBob.
I have like a little bit of a sore spot for, like, I joke about this, but like I'd go over to my friends' places like in middle school, and one of my friends specifically, he just watched SpongeBob from the moment we got back from school until like it got dark, and he'd just be sitting there in the dark watching SpongeBob. I'm just like, bro, can we play a game? Can we do something? And I'm like, why does everyone like SpongeBob so much? I think it's not that great. It's just not my type of humor. So
like seasons 1 through 5, like I'm talking like OG SpongeBob, are funnier now than they were when I was a kid. Like I don't actively watch it, but like, dude, if I'm like happen to be like scrolling through TV and I see like classic SpongeBob's on, you bet your ass I'm throwing that on. Like, it's not even a question. Like, this is more for like the people listening, but the episode where Patrick and SpongeBob joined the Flying Dutchman ship, I watched it like, I'll never forget. I watched it like my junior or senior year of college. I was just like at my grandmother's and it happened to be on TV. I didn't think anything of it. I just put it on. I'm not kidding. I think my ribs almost split open. I was laughing so hard. This is like I am like an adult at this point, and I couldn't believe how funny it was. I'm like, this is the driest humor in the best way. Anyway,
I'm glad that people love SpongeBob. It's just not my thing.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
That's been the most interesting thing I've learned today about you.
I have a lot of like, as some of my viewers might know, like Burley definitely knows. Like, I have a lot of things that I don't like or care for that people are just really surprised by in terms of media, in terms of food, in terms of like.
I mean, it's fine. Like what you like. Yeah, it's just surprising. Totally, it's just surprising.
Yeah, it's just surprising. Yeah.
Like, you were the first person, like I guess, like our range, like our age range. I feel like right now, like 20 to 30 in general, like our ballpark range, like grew up on that. Like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I do want to say, if you have any other copies of that Unjammed, if you want to throw me an autographed copy, I wouldn't say no. I'd love to give it a read.
Okay. I might lend you one, and you could send it back if that's okay.
Fair. That's fair too.
I also have a PDF version if you want to read the print one. That's okay, fine. But PDF also works. Yeah.
I'd love to check it out. Have you ever thought about like doing like trying to do like a zine or anything like that? Because I feel like you kind of have.
Kind
I feel like you.
loosely.
I almost like kind of think you have it already with the Instagram, which is funny. Like you
Hmm.
kind of have it there. Like you have the doodles, you have the illustrations with it already.
Yeah,
But it's just
I might like. I was thinking about submitting for one of my friends' zines. I feel like that's an easier way to get started. Kind of
that's
like a
fair.
mixed media thing, or like I
Are you
don't
still
know.
doing?
Like
Are you still doing poetry like
it's
regularly now, or?
I still write
Hmm.
pretty regularly ish. Like I have a Google Keep that's full of like hundreds and hundreds of poems and drafts and stuff that are in various states of, let's say, completion. Like some of them are just like personal, some of them are, oh, I'll get back to this later. Some of them are like, here's one line or two lines that I have an idea I really like, but I don't know if it's ever going to be fully fleshed out. Because
Sure.
the process for me is not so much like I'm so passionate about poetry, I'm gonna make time to write every single day. It's still very much like when I feel it or when something comes up, I'll kind of just like write. And sometimes it becomes something that I want to share or it feels completed. Sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I would say like the things I've posted compared to how much I have left is probably only like 15 to 20%. There's just so much that I have written that I'm still happy to share. I just don't put it into an Instagram post kind of thing, you know?
Yeah.
So
No.
yeah, I don't know if I'm like particularly passionate enough about it to dedicate a whole thing to it or put a lot of
Sure.
effort into it. Yeah.
And that's cool. Like, it's like I feel like nice like when like a hobby can just be a hobby. You know. I think I
Mm-hmm.
definitely have that issue where I feel like I need to dedicate everything to content.
Yeah,
Where it's like I can't just like let things be. You know. Like I
for
think
sure. I
it's
get
like
that
how I'm
feeling.
wired. I guess. It's a weird thing. I think a lot of people are like that. I don't think it's just me.
Hmm.
Like even like stupid things. Like I'll be like, I'll have a package. I'm so excited for it. I know it's there. It's like, damn it, I need to wait to unbox this on stream. And I'm like, it's so stupid. It's like so stupid. Like why? Why do I need to wait to unbox it on the stream? Why can't I just open it out and enjoy it?
I feel that. I keep a lot of unopened packages hanging around for when I unbox it on stream. But for me, at least, it's maybe part of it is like, oh, I want to make content. I think most of it is that I really want to enjoy things with people. Like, I think
That's
what
nice
makes me
too.
tick is really like deep emotional or just deep connection with people. And so, like, I very rarely play single player games, for example, because I want to share it with somebody. It almost leaves me kind of this bittersweet feeling when I enjoy this story and this epic journey, and then I'm like, but I was alone and I couldn't. I want to share it with people. I want to tell them about it. I wish they were there with me. And then I feel like that experience, of course, is no longer going to be quite the same as if I experienced it with somebody else for the first time, for example.
I
So
do.
streaming kind of helps with that because then I can just stream a single player game and people can watch with me, kind of thing.
I do. See, like I prefer single player games in the sense like I like enjoy the story more. But like
Hmm.
no, there's definitely like a sentiment to that where like I wish there was more like good AAA co-op games. Do you know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
in a
Yeah,
sense,
for sure.
the one that like I don't know why because I haven't thought about this game in like probably like 10 years easily. But there was a game for the PS3 called Resistance: Fall of Man. I don't know if you ever played it or heard of it. It
I
was a shoot.
actually was really into having a
It,
PS3, but I didn't play that game. I heard so much about it. I was like a Killzone kind of guy, so
I never played
yeah.
Killzone. Resistance: Fall of Man. The first one was
I heard it was
amazing.
so good.
The
Yeah.
second one was pretty meh, and the third one I never even played. I heard it was terrible, which is so disappointing. I
Okay.
was obsessed with the first. The first one was so good. I probably played it like 3 4 times, which is rare for me for like a single player game unless it's like Zelda. Um, but I remember it had a game. It had a co-op story mode. To what happened was it's the exact same campaign. The only difference is like it's like when you go to cutscenes, it's like the second player doesn't exist. But it's like nice because you can play like an entire like AAA game with somebody and enjoy it together, but still get the story out of it. Like it's not like things are
Mm,
weird, different. And
yeah.
like, just thinking about it now, I'm like, damn, like it'd be really fun if there was like more game modes like that. But I guess
Yeah.
it's a little more
For sure.
complicated in that sense than just like a shooter. But
Yeah. There are a lot more like co-op games nowadays for in the indie game world
I've
because I
noticed
think
I've
that
played one
people.
recently.
Which one? It Takes Two,
Not it's not It Takes Two.
or
I do want to play It Takes Two.
I
We
haven't
Were
played that one
Here.
either.
Is it We Were Here?
I haven't heard of that. I
That
don't
was
think.
my buddy told me about it. You beat it in a night. It's a puzzle game. It does not take more than like three
With
hours.
two people?
You need two people. You can't play one player.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
it's a puzzle game. There's other ones too. I think the first one's free. I think
Hmm.
the first one is free. I could be wrong. Um, it was fun. It's kind of like scary, but not really. It's very mysterious. Um, but it was a really
Mysterious.
it is like you play and you're like, what the hell is this? I don't even know how to explain it. I highly recommend it. We were here, but my buddy, yeah, he called me about it. But I've like thought about starting a segment on here actually, just kind of like dedicating time and like I'm actually like I have like kind of like taking not a step back from streaming, but like I'm kind of like lowering my streaming days just because like this is exhausting like with a full-time job. But I really wanted to start a series with my cousin, who he streams a little bit, like here and there. But we both really like video games, and I wanted to start a series where every week we play a co-op game together, like exclusively co-op games, like It Takes Two, We Were Here, etc., etc.
Nice. I like that.
But yeah, I'm a big fan. Hello, Lux Cables. Um, but yeah, Choobies. I think this is a good time to wrap up. I've kept you captive for an hour and 15. There's so much more we could like.
There's
go
so
on
much
about.
to talk about. I
There
am
is.
very happy to be here. If you can stay on more, I'm happy to as well. It's up to you, whatever you want to do.
Dude, if you want to
vibe in for tonight, yeah.
My last thing like I wanted to talk about, just to kind of go back to keyboards.
Yeah.
But you were this will probably be the last thing, but this is something I was very curious about. I wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
What's it like being friends with the legend Norbauer?
It's good. It's normal. I mean, that's
Like,
sort of the answer you'd expect, because I've been
Yeah.
close friends with him for like more than 3 years now. We met at 2018 KeyCon
I was gonna
in
ask.
Pittsburgh. Yeah, and I only knew about him because I ordered his Norbaforce case, which was my first group I ever joined in keyboards. That was like 2 months in. I somehow convinced myself to spend $400
I was gonna
on
ask.
a
Like, was
case. Not even the real force itself. You have to buy the real force later. So I was just like, I went out on a limb because actually the first keyboard meetup I went to, which was in Boston, he donated for the giveaway one of his retro refrigerator Normal Force with the real force inside. And when I saw that at the meetup, I was like, this is the most beautiful keyboard I have ever seen. Like the finish, the color, it's gorgeous. And then I looked it up, and then that's when I joined the group buy. And then when I met him in that summer, that coming June at KeyCon, we had talked over email briefly, and I was like, wow, he's a really nice guy. And then we kind of just hit it off as friends. Like he really liked my kind of really young, kiddish kind of energy, and I was just like this huge fan for him and his work. And I thought he was he still is to me like one of the most interesting people I've ever met. Just absolutely, there's layers and layers. Like he has a certain reputation online because of his sort of distance from Twitch and from Discord. He's not very accessible, so to speak, and you don't really see much personal stuff of him unless you watch his YouTube videos, unless you've seen him be on as a guest for Teja, or if you've ever corresponded with him over email. Then you'll see he's actually very warm and very like loves human connection and talking with people about stuff, loves genuineness. And yeah, it's just been a great 3 years of having him as kind of like this older mentor-ish figure in my life, because I'm able to talk to him about anything, just ask him questions about life. We'll talk on the phone every couple of days. Just whenever I'm driving, I'll be like, hey, you free for a phone call? And then we'll just like talk or whatever. So it's good. It's wonderful. He's one of like my favorite people.
I really love that. You're one of the only people, if not the only person I know that is like, not that like, I was obviously kidding. It's like what's like the famous Norbauer, but it's like I feel like you kind of said it yourself. Like there is like this like mystique to him. I feel like if you're on the outside, like if you're just like a keyboard fan, you know Norbauer. Like I feel like he is kind of like a mysterious dude.
He is.
But it's cool. I actually was this close. I had to like restrain myself. I was this close to getting one of his the 1800 case. I can't remember the which one
the Heavy
it was.
9.
Yes, I was so close, and I'm like, dude, you cannot like buy another keyboard right now, like just because he's gonna stop. And I'm like, this could be like my only Topre case where I'm like,
yeah,
get this one.
You gotta
like,
have
dude,
one, right?
I gotta have one. I'm like, dude, I gotta go for a cheaper one. Like this is like so like, I'm like, I just got it was just like just money things. Like I just gotta be smart on my end, but
yeah,
no, because I feel like he is like. I feel like the way like I look at Norbauer is the man makes a fantastic product, a very like well known product in community, but like is using like a more vintage style like only through Topre, But it's like it's almost like everything feels so like not that like everything isn't like artisan in this community. Like everything is very like bespoke and um like custom and exclusive. But it's like his does like feel like so much more like I don't know like substantial in a way.
Hmm.
It's like you're only buying the case. Like you got to do everything else. Like it's just like it is almost like I don't want to keep saying like mysterious and mystique, but it's just like
Hmm.
it's a Norbauer.
Yeah.
It's like it feels like a vintage car. That is, I think that's what I've been trying to like wrap my mind around. Even though it's obviously a new case.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, because he really
Um,
likes mid-century modern kind of styling, and that obviously plays a big role in his design language too, as he openly talks about that. That's his probably main aesthetic love is like mid-century modern kind of look. So it does have that kind of vintage kind of style to it.
it feels like it feels like museum level stuff. I don't know. Like it feels like he like someone like plucked a like like you see like IBM's like beam springboards like old Apple keyboards. It's like,
Hmm.
it feels like he like took that like energy and put it into a modern day product.
Hmm.
Like that's like I guess like how I've like looked at it too. Um, but it's,
A
and
lot
you
of
know it's
his like
quality.
yeah, a lot of his design, in addition to things being really high quality, a lot of his design philosophy and sort of business philosophy has a lot to do with modeling after luxury products and luxury brands, not just in terms of quality, but sort of like the mystique and the allure of the brand specifically. And the brand is very much Norbauer, Norbauer and Co. and Norba Forces. And he didn't come with that name, but like it just became a thing. The Norba Touch, the Norba Force, all those things that people were just like, we're going to call it this because it's you. And I think that he does branding so well. He loves talking about and reading books about like luxury and brands and how they work and the three different types of luxury. And like this is the kind of stuff I get to like hear him talk about all the time. One time I had dinner with him and Teha and the two Keycult guys. This was in LA, or this was in NorCal actually,
Say
and
like
we were
it's a
just
prestigious dinner.
I guess so. I was like there, and I
Choobies
was
is
like,
there.
one of us is not like the other, and that's me, guys.
I don't know. I don't know
But
what you're
it
talking
was
about.
great to just be there and listen to them talk about luxury and the type of brand that, because this was when Keycult was like still right around the number one Rev one kind of times when
It's
they
like
were like
what
trying to establish their brand.
is
This
like
was
2018 like
2018. Yeah, actually, the fall of 2018. Wait, no, the fall of 2019, right before COVID hit. I was
gotcha.
there for the keyboard meetup, NorCal meetup, and then we all got dinner together. So yeah, yeah, I think Ryan does his branding and all that very well. To Burley's point, like he says, his stuff is unapologetically high end. He wants what he wants. He makes sure it's perfect. And if you want the same thing, you got to pay for it. And that's like exactly what luxury brands feel like. They don't have sales because that sort of cheapens the image of the product. And it's sort of like it's like catering to the consumer when like luxury brands they have a certain like we are who we are, and if you know then you'll buy it, and if you don't know then you won't care for it or you'll think it's overpriced or whatever, but we don't care about you. you know and
We're
it's
not
like not
for
meant
you.
to
We're
be
not here for
mean.
you.
Yeah, exactly, they just do what they do, and I think that's such an amazing appeal that's sort of understated about like companies that we are all aware of, for example like Chanel or like Apple, like a lot of these things that like you can get it, you just have to pay money, but the company seems like they don't really pay attention to you, and that actually makes it feel a little bit more like pristine, at least for me. And I'm like, oh, they have a vision, they're executing it, and it is what it is, and it sort of makes it more mysterious and it makes it more appealing to me because I'm like, man, I want to be on the in crowd, I want the cool thing, I want to earn it or make my way up there. And I feel like luxury brands, there's like so much that it kind of caters to like certain psychological aspects of people, that they want to be in or they want to know or they want to have something that's like, oh yeah, I have good taste, they show off to other people kind of thing. I'm not saying all these reasons or motivations are good, but I think there's just a lot there that like creates this sort of like mysterious appeal that people don't really, myself included, don't really think of. And it was only from talking to Ryan that he was like, there's like three different types of luxury brands and they all kind of work in slightly different ways and they appeal to customers in slightly different ways too. It's a
But
whole like thing basically, and I think
it's
he's the only person in keyboards who does it. Yeah,
it's like the
maybe
world
Keycult.
the like world around like I feel like when I think like high end keyboard brands, like if I'm going like off the cuff, I'm thinking Keycult, Rama, Norbauer are like probably like the first three names. It's like, and they all feel so different,
Mm-hmm.
but they're all in that this same I hold them to in the same like I guess like prestige in a weird way. Like it's I feel like it's just like almost like it's a Keycult does like I don't think they do a lot of branding because they don't have to either. Like they build their keyboards, they make high end keyboards, and they make prestigious keyboards. Rama absolutely kills the branding game. I think they are probably my favorite when it comes to branding. At least they're probably my favorite in the keyboard community. And then Norbauer doesn't do anything. Norbauer makes his Instagram posts, does his thing, and he stays in the shadows. That's what it feels like. Like you said, like not that he's not that he's like not a nice guy. From he sounds like a fantastic person, but it's just like from like me who has never spoken with him. Like he's like, shit's Norbauer. He's just like one of those.
For sure.
It's just like one of those things. I don't know, but it's cool. And I completely understand like what you're saying with like, I saw like, I'm big into like, I think like exclusivity is almost like exclusivity is in every hobby. I think like records, sneakers, fashion, keyboards especially. Exclusivity is just like a name of it, and if companies do it right, it's amazing.
Yeah, for better or for worse, exclusivity. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, it's part of life, I think, at the end of the day. Depending on if you just adjust your perspective bigger, it's still some kind of exclusivity with having access to those things. Even if it's like unlimited group buy, it could be exclusivity due to financial reasons. It could be due to geographic reasons. It could be just who knows who kind of thing. So I guess there is always exclusivity to your point. Yeah.
Yeah. I do have two last questions for you. I don't think they're too tough. The one,
Sure.
you know what? I shouldn't say not the one. The one's a little tough for some people. I'm always curious about this one. But the first question, where did you get Choobies from?
Sure. So I do get this question a lot. In 6th grade was when I first played an online game, which was Counter-Strike 1.6. And I was like installing Steam, and I was like, I need an online username. I need an alias for which the world will know me by for the rest of my life.
Because
So
you're
I
going to
thought
be
about it.
CS:GO Pro. CS:GO,
Yeah, exactly.
CS:GO Pro Preston's going to come in hot in middle school.
Yeah, exactly. CS 1.6 because this was 2005. And I was like, okay, let me think about it. I thought about it for a solid week, and I came up with Choob, which is like an amalgamation of Chinese noob. And then I was like, that's my name. That was my AIM screen name. That was my online name. And then when I started to sign up for online things, 5 characters was either taken or too short. So I just made it Choobies. And that's it.
And
That's the whole story.
And for the rest, and for the next 16 years, Choobies has lived on strong.
Exactly.
I don't think
A lot of funny side effects that maybe people don't realize is that having the username Choobies and also having like that little shrimp guy as my avatar,
popcorn.
people tend to think that I'm a female. I think if they had to assume a gender, they think I was a girl.
I
And
guess.
so I've gotten that sometimes. It's not uncommon, but it's not overwhelmingly common. It's just not uncommon. And then also online. So it happens the most. There's this one time I was playing CSGO, and then halfway through the game, I use Mike to make a call out or something.
Sure.
And then one of the persons was just like, that's not what I expected Choobies to sound like. I was like, I'm just a guy. So yeah, I think that kind of played off of that. It's kind of like this cute-ish name, and like I usually use some kind of cute avatar. So
You're not Chinese?
I'm Taiwanese, but I'm whatever, close enough.
Just screw it.
Yeah, it's a small technicality that it seems like if I make the clarification, or if I don't make it, I can't really win. Some people, it's just like it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter to me, but some people care to make the distinction. Some people, I make the distinction, they're like, oh, like, does it matter? I'm like, not really. So it's like, why did I even say
Culture vulture alert. I never like thought about. I've never thought about like what ethnicity could be, and then it's just like, oh, okay, he's Chinese noob, and then like, you see the comment roll through. He's not even Chinese. Oh, it's so funny.
Oh, by the way, these are some Norba Force boards over here.
Ooh.
There is the retro refrigerator one right here. There's a custom buttercup color one, and then there's the frosted Ghost of Christmas Past edition.
Ooh, show.
I'll bring two over because the bottom one is under construction. The polycarbonate one.
If the refrigerator one's available, I know Ozzy likes that one. It sounds like.
Yeah, what's up, Ozzy? 1 sec.
This has been one of the most interesting episodes. This has been, if not the, if it's not one of, this might be the most interesting episode we've done so far. It's been a lot of topics and all of them very interesting. Oh my God, this is gonna make me get a normal horse. All right.
Okay.
What you got for us?
Here we go. The first boy here. The one we know and love, the retro refrigerator powder coat finish Norbaforce. This is the Mark 1.
What's the date on this board?
When did I get it?
Mm-hmm.
I joined this group buy in December of 2017. And I think it arrived in fall of 2018. Or maybe just like it was about 3/4 to 1 year.
What kind of keycaps are those? Are they like, I'm assuming Topre, but
yeah, these are the PBT Topre caps with the ABS spacebar. This is the OG Real Force set, which is the best PBT I've ever felt. It's so nice. It's not particularly dry like most PBT tends to be. It's kind of like this really, really nice PBT that you can't quite tell is PBT. It almost feels like ABS.
I was gonna say, is it like similar to that?
Yeah. I had Ryan sign the back because I'm a nerd.
I love that. I think it's fair.
Fanboy.
I think that's fair.
Hell yeah.
Oh my God. That's gorgeous.
Yeah, I absolutely love that retro refrigerator color. And the story of this one goes, when I met him at KeyCon, and we became friends, we actually were both staying at the Ace Hotel, and we took the elevator up together, and it was like 1 a.m. We got out of the elevator, and we were just talking, and we just stood there talking for like half an hour. And that's how friendship was born, just like talking late at night in the hotel. And then he mentioned to me that he was making a small run of rose gold Norbaforces, started by Olivia, who asked him. And a few other people like Huey joined. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. Like, can I get one too? And he's like, sure. It might be a little expensive because the rose gold coating specifically has to be applied like 5 different times or something. But he was like, yeah, you can get one if you want. I said, sure, that sounds cool. And at the time, like, I was still really new friends with him, so I didn't. So I was just like, okay, like, I've just tagged me onto the group buy. I don't want to cause any extra trouble for you or whatever. But then as time went on, after he told me how expensive like it would be, I was like, you know, it's not even like a color I absolutely love, like rose gold. Can I just get like a custom color of my own choosing? And he said, sure, of course. That might actually be cheaper. So I looked through the powder coat colors and I chose this buttercup color, which is this one of my absolute favorite colors, which is like this light pastel yellow.
Movie buttercup color. I see.
I love the finish. So the finish is like this eggshell finish is what it's called. So if you picture an eggshell, it's kind of has a sheen and it kind of is also matte. So in the right light, it can seem like one or the other, but it feels absolutely like an eggshell, and it's so nice. It's even like ever so slightly textured like an eggshell too, and I absolutely love this finish.
That's gorgeous. There it is. With the blue, it's very nice.
It's super funky, right?
It is. No,
I didn't actually plan this. I got the blue key set first because I just wanted some cool Real Force caps, and I got these from Nathan from Teja. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, he was like actually posting on Mech Market and stuff, and I think he had a set. Actually, so I saw in one of his tech test videos, I was like, whoa, that's a really cool blue set you have on your Real Force. Like, where can I get one? Or like, are you selling or trading yours? And he's like, oh, maybe. And then he was like looking for a Nova Touch, and I had an extra Nova Touch. So I was like, hey, let's do a 1-for-1 trade. And he said, sure. So he visited New York City. We hung out. We did the trade. This was in 2018. And so that's where this set of caps is from. It goes back to the OG days.
Are those keycaps just like impossible to find?
They're just hard to find in general. Real Force caps. There are actually there's red, orange, pink, blue, yellow. But most of them are kind of ugly except for the blue and the pink.
Can you even find that OG? Can you even find that OG, like the beige set that you had before on the other one?
That comes with real forces actually, so that one is not hard to find.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then this one obviously came with some real force, I think, or maybe it was sold aftermarket. I don't know. I just found it luckily. But like there's also blank versions of the blue and the pink and all those, I think. Those are
Mhm.
extra hard to find. Yeah. But I think this set it just comes with the original real force, which I guess might be discontinued now, so it might be a little tougher to find, but it shouldn't be all that difficult. This
Gotcha.
comes on the ivory one. There's also the black real force, the one with the big forehead, if you remember, not the R2s, which are what are out now. Yeah.
That's so interesting. I need to try. The fact that I still need to try Tobre boards. I've been tempted.
Mm.
I've been tempting in getting the HHKB, like the HHKB, uh, just to like learn how to like tune and all that, and just like I don't know, have it.
Hmm.
But uh, the temptation is real because he's now stopping. Like once they're done, they're done, and then is he just gonna move on to like regular like MX cases or because he's
So
only gonna do custom commissions, isn't it?
I don't know the latest, but I remember him talking about he's been working on an MX board for a long time now, or yeah, for a bit. He's making his own MX case, so it'll be like a full thing that you could purchase, kind of like Rama style. He doesn't want to just make a case anymore and then make the customer have to go get a board internal
Mm-hmm.
for themselves. So he's offering the whole thing. So he's going to do an MX board in the style in his design language, and he's also doing like his own Topra, like his own like domes and electrocapacitive
Oh,
PCB. So yeah.
interesting. I've been. Oh, that's very interesting. Like in my head, I'm like, ah, I'm like maybe in the future, like I'll just commission him. Because I heard about it very recently. I think there's someone mentioned in my streams that he was gonna stop doing I guess like group buys or in stock. It was pretty much like when it's sold out, it's sold out. He's gonna start working on other projects. So that's interesting though. Hello, Ben Honey.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, um, but this will be the final question.
Yeah, what
Uh,
was that
a
question you just asked me? Oh, what's it like to be friends with Ryan? Okay, yeah, yeah.
it was that, and then I asked you how you got the name Choobies, and we got back here.
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's right, that's right. Okay. Hmm.
So my big question, I asked this, I try to ask this on every
This is
show.
the
I
toughie.
went like three. It depends. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. I try
Mhm.
to ask Shimber. Thank you for the rate of 18. I
I
appreciate it.
like tough questions. Shinber,
Um,
let's go.
but yeah, I try to ask this every guest. I went on like a little spree of forgetting, and then last week with lightning, I remembered. Um,
Mm.
but do you have any pipe dreams? Like dream like I'm a big fan of having like just like disgusting and like having like overarching goals in life. Like mine, for example, I plan on winning an Oscar. I want to win an Oscar for directing. Like that is like I wake up and I tell myself that every single day.
For
That is my
directing?
goal. Hopefully, I'm not picky.
Oh.
Directing's the goal, but I'm not
Yeah,
picky.
yeah.
Um, but I'm always
Wow.
curious. I like hearing like what drives people and like I guess like some people don't have and like some people like I've like realized like doing this like not everyone like has these kinds of goals so they have to think a little bit. But I'm curious if like there's anything like that that's ever like come through your mind or like maybe if you have like that like long term goal that like drives you.
No. The simple answer is no. The longer answer is I, I I think I'm in I think I was raised kind of in a way where it's like I was mostly focusing on like checking the right boxes and kind of like getting through school, getting a job, doing being like a good person or whatever, right? And I wasn't really like challenged to dream big, or to have a really long term or big goal. So it's just very kind of foreign to me. I think there's a part of me that's like afraid of failure. So I think those two things also come together and make it tougher to have a dream or to have a goal. And in the past couple of years of my life, I've been kind of getting away from just the kind of checking boxes mentality of my upbringing and actually thinking for myself like I have this one life. I have a lot of resources and time and potential and energy and I can use it for anything. What do I want to use it for? And I think that's still where I am in the present day, is to think about what do I want to do? And I would ideally love to have something that does drive me, something that like I care about, something I feel like I need to do, and I need to find a way to like to do it and to get more of it. But I'm just not in that mental place right now, unfortunately. I would love to have one. I'm not sure though.
I
I
don't
could
think there's
tell you
anything.
anything about it.
I don't think there's anything wrong with like not though. Like, and even like being aware of it. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with going day by day, like doing your thing, like making sure, like as long as like if you're checking your boxes, great. If you're being a good person, even better. Like, I think that is a good way to be, especially like how like shit has been these last few years. I think if you can wake up and be a good person, at least to the best of your capacity, I think that's enough.
Yeah, I agree with that. Life is interesting. Like it sort of
It's
just
weird.
depends how big you draw like your perspective, right? Some people's perspectives are just like my immediate space, my immediate friends, my immediate happenings, and some people it's like my neighborhood or my community or my state, and some people are more like the world is my oyster. Like where do I want to be? And they travel a lot, they move and they experience all these different things that life has. And I look at all these different lifestyles and I think it's great. It's like people just doing what they do, and it's very freeing on one hand, and on the other hand it's very scary because it's like if there is no kind of like right thing for me to do, a right box for me to check to know that I've made it and I can do anything, that's kind of like scary and liberating at the same time. So
No,
I'm in that place right now and I'm trying to figure it out.
and that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that by any means. I think the way, like, at least like the way I've always thought about it. I remember a conversation with my dad when I was in early college because I was still figuring it out. I didn't know what I want because like I thought I wanted to go into journalism. I thought I wanted to write for a living. That's what like I always like because I wasn't sure.
Mhm.
I think I grew up. I was gonna be a machinist actually. That was like the plan. That's what my dad does. He owns a machine shop.
Mhm.
And I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go to trade school. I'm gonna be a machinist. Done. My life is planned out. Like I thought that from like 16. And then my senior year of high
Mhm.
school, I worked with him and realized I do not like this. I worked with him like kind of throughout my whole life, like us on and off, like on weekends if you'd ask me to come in and help at the shop, anything like that. Like I don't know, parent things. Um, and then when I realized I didn't like it, I'm like, well, I gotta find something else now. So I thought it was writing, and that wasn't it. But I've always made videos, and I realized like I could like make things for a living. Like people
Mm.
do this for a living. And he's like, what do you wanna? He's like, what do you want to do? It was kind of like, cause I was a little lost. I think a lot of us are still lost. Like I definitely don't think I'm found by any means. I still think I'm a little lost. I think a lot of us are.
Mhm.
But I remember him asking. He's like, what do you want out of life? What do you want to do? And I sat there and I'm like, fuck. And I'm like, that's kind of a big question. And I
Yeah.
think at the time I was joking about becoming a TV show. I wanted to be like a Seth Meyers or like I wanted to be the host of a late night show. I think that was like the dream at the time, like when I was in like late college, because I'm like that like just seems like the dream. Like you just have conversations with people, which is like kind of funny because I feel like that's what I'm kind of doing now with like people in
Yeah.
this hobby and like outside of it. It's like I just want to talk to people. I want to meet people.
Mhm.
And he's like, that's great. That's a great goal to have. Now what are you gonna do in between? Like how are you gonna get there? And that's what made me really think. So now it's
Mhm.
kind of like obviously the ideal has kind of shifted a bit, but it is a little like interesting now. Like thinking it's like okay, what are my steps? Like how do
Mhm.
it keeps. I think it keeps me. It definitely keeps me going at least right now. That I've noticed
Mhm.
like even through like I was unemployed for about 5 months when I was working with Major League Baseball. They cut about 50 positions back in February.
Mhm.
And for a lot of those months, it was just kind of like, wow, am I doing the right thing here? Like, is this it?
Mhm.
Am I cut out for this? And it's like, buddy, there is no plan B because you know you're gonna be pissed off doing anything else. So you might as well keep trying.
Right.
Um,
Yeah.
but I think like that's kind of like how I got here. Like I guess like how I've like gotten that mentality a little bit. I think that was a big question. It's like, what do you
Mhm.
want? What do you want out of life? And I still think it's a very big question. I don't think
Mhm.
it's far off from asking what a pipe dream is.
Yeah. 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 I like. I really like talking to people about how they most feel fulfilled in life. I think it's really exciting to kind of sit with someone and hear them talk about what they like and realize that they're kind of just talking about their values And I think the encouragement I would give to you is that I think that maybe you've learned this already. It's less about where you are or your label or your job or your role, and it's more about uh, how are the things you're doing in your life, whether it's work or at home or family or whatever it is, how are those things fulfilling the values that you personally hold? So the values are the things that just make you feel really fulfilled. For some people, that's helping people, or for others, it's being creative and designing and creating. And like that can look very different. Like creating could be like, I love decorating the inside of my home and making it a warm space that utilizes, my knowledge of how people work and how they feel comfortable to create the ultimate like space when visitors come over or my family's at home. For other people, creating can be using their creativity to create like a custom key set that has an amazing colorway that other people can display on their desk, and that really speaks to them too. So it's not, and maybe your life will have, for example, both of those things if you're really into creating. Maybe it's different seasons. But the point being, it's not like, oh, like, home decor was my thing, but I was wrong. It's not so much that you were wrong. It's not that you were wrong at all. I think it's more like you were fulfilling that value with that thing. And maybe you'll go back to it. Maybe you switch to something else. It's not so much what you do, but rather that value is being fulfilled. And I always try and talk to people about like, what are their values? What do they really care about? Because I care about people just doing what they care about in life. I think like we need to actually move away from kind of the checking boxes mentality of like, oh, am I making enough money? Oh, am I like getting enough followers? Am I becoming famous enough? It's and more become more of like getting more into like thinking like, am I feeling fulfilled in life? When people spend time with me, are they enriched and are they encouraged by the way that I live?
I think
That's my
that's
2 cents.
no, I think that's fantastic. I'm getting a little emotional. No, I think that's like literally fantastic. But I think like there's nothing like almost being like a middle ground is great because like I definitely have the like the checkbox mentality. Like I think to an extent like you have
Mm-hmm.
to have that because that's what keeps you like from going too deep in on one end or too deep in on the other. Like you need like because unfortunately like you have to be like you need to make sure you're making enough money. Like when I say enough money, I mean like enough to like sustain
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yourself. Like you need to like
Mm-hmm.
have that. You need to like because I think to an extent. Look, don't get me wrong. Like I'm all in for those people who are like I'm going to drop out, become Steve Jobs. Um,
Mm.
Unfortunately, not everyone's Steve Jobs. Like you got to be like smart and you have to be sure of yourself and you have to be able to support yourself, but also don't lose your sense of self in the same way. Like I definitely like personally like I take a lot
Mm-hmm.
of I guess like pride in who I am as a person. Like I be like I think the big goal is like you want to be the person that you want to see in others almost like I guess
Mm.
like treat people the like as dumb as it's like not as dumb as it sounds, but like to go back to like elementary school, treat people the way you want to be treated. Like I like
Mm-hmm.
want to be like that person that like helps people, but like I also like would love to see that in other people as well, like helping others, like kind of like encouraging others as well to like live by the same like sort of ideals.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah. I think
it's
you
my
have a wonderful vibe to you as a person. We haven't talked that much, but like I trust I think I've like seen over the years that I have a strong intuition about people and situations and stuff and like kind of understanding where they're coming from like mentally, emotionally, and like you have a really good thing going. I really appreciate your heart and your vision and the way that you interact with people, the way that you've hosted me. I felt really comfortable at home, engaged with, and I'm sure that your viewers echo the same sentiments.
No, I really like those words alone mean like the world to me. I feel like in a very similar way. Like I like to say like I feel like I'm a very good judge of people. Like I can tell like if not that I don't like you, but I can tell if like not you specifically like, in general. Like I can tell like if I don't like someone or I don't like or if I do or if I can tell like these people seem good or like I'm not like the way you can like reading people is a skill in its own. Um, I don't know. I've always felt very
Hmm.
uh like I don't watch too many people on Twitch like regularly, but like when I would see you were on, I would definitely like lurk at the very least. Like I was very like drawn to your streams as well because it felt more like yeah, it was keyboards. It didn't feel like keyboards. Like I remember like your sense of community as well. It was kind of like this feels like home. Like it feels like friends hanging out. It didn't feel like a bunch of people watching a streamer build the keyboard. Felt like people were chilling. I'm like, I want to be a part of this group. Like, I don't know too many of them. Well, you had a, oh my gosh. I'm like trying to remember her name, but I don't want to be rude. But like I remember like it was like her and a couple other people in your streams. And I'm just like, wait, these people are all so nice. And it's something like ended up finding because that was like early in my stream. Ooh, you're frozen. Can you hear me? Oh God, did we lose him? Oh, there you are. Okay, we're good.
It's a very you said nice people and couldn't remember names. That's all I got from that.
It was no, you're good. It was very it was like cool to see because I found you like when I first started streaming, like probably like July, August last year. And it was I remember like sitting down like, wow, that's so cool. Like he found like this sense of community and like friends on here that is just like so supportive. And I ended up like finding something like that very similar to my community, which is like been like the most gratifying thing I've done since starting this. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like we're like echo chambering to each other, but like I completely understand what you're saying. We got coffee sometime.
Thanks for saying all that.
No.
Oh yeah, you're nearby. I always forget.
We gotta hang out sometime.
I'm so used to everyone being in freaking California, dude.
Brother, give it 2 months. I'm gonna be even closer.
Dude, let's go. Yeah, that's perfect, man.
No, but seriously,
that's
like,
good.
No, this has probably been my favorite episode so far. The fact that it's gone on for 2 hours is insane.
Dude, it's been that long already? Oh no way.
I think the second long is like an hour and a half. So we obliterated this. The beginning of the bromance. This is the beginning of a beautiful bromance.
It's the good vibes, man.
Noli and Friends for 2 hours. Let's fucking go. No, but seriously, thank you so much, Choobies. I truly appreciate all the kind of words you said in this conversation in general. This has been a very enjoyable time. I want to come for coffee. Dude, we'll get you on FaceTime.
Yeah,
we'll get you on FaceTime, Ozzy. We'll meet, me and Choobies will hang out. We'll meet up and then we'll throw you on FaceTime. Or just fly to New York. Even easier. Oh my.
Another thing I was gonna say about the Keep kids is that, so I told you there's 6 of them, right? Mm-hmm. They all, like, it's kind of, I don't know if it's coincidence or maybe because they knew I was local, they followed me and talked to me more, but like they're all local except for Jacqueline. She's in Canada, in Toronto, so she's the furthest one away. So I've actually met all of them except for her. We've all met each other, and so we're just waiting for the quarantine stuff to settle down before she can presumably either fly in or we'll visit her or something like that for a Keep Kids hangout. But they're all local, so like they're all in like New York City and Pennsylvania and Jersey, so it's exciting.
That's cool. Nice. It's like
more local friends. Yeah,
it's really like I met because St. Pack came. I did a birthday stream 2 months ago, and St. Pack came over to help with it, and then I met up with a couple local people like Lightning. I'm not sure if you're familiar with VR, Domo, or Halloween Keyboards, but we all got Korean barbecue after, and it was like my first experience, or one of my first experiences, like talking to people in person about like keyboard, and just like it was like my first like taste of like the community in real life, and it was like the most like surreal experience because it's after a year and a half I've never met someone in person. Like I've talked with like friends in person about like key, like I've explained it to them. They've like asked questions. Obviously, it's a very different hobby than they're used to, but it was like. Almost nuts, like having a conversation with someone else who also gets it. Like, it's a crazy feeling. Like you've experienced it several times already, but it was like for that first time, it's like wow, we're all nerds in this together.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's the best.
But Choobies, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. This was a blast. I'm definitely gonna have you on again in the future. This was very nice. I enjoyed this conversation a lot. I enjoyed this conversation.
Man. Good vibes.
For 2 hours, I enjoyed this conversation a lot because I didn't.
Hasn't even felt like 2 hours for real, man.
I was like 8. I'm like, oh, start 8. I'm like, nice. I'll be done by 9. I can relax. Yeah. And I looked down. I'm like, oh wow, it's 10 o'clock, and we have. But like I haven't thought about it.
Yeah,
Great
man.
chat, guys. Thank you, Ozzy. Ozzy, we'll have to get you on here soon. Nice morning stream for you. You can have your coffee. Well, I don't think I'll have a beer and you can have a coffee. But guys, please, if you do, I'll do command guess because I don't think Venom is here. Please follow Choobies on Twitch. Do you have a time you think you'll? Do you know like when you'll be? I know you're streaming kind of like a little less so now. I don't know if you have any like streams in the future. If there's anything specific you'd like to plug.
Most often I stream Tuesdays, sometime between Tuesday and Friday. So usually Tuesday. I try to do weekly Tuesdays. I've been taking a little bit of a break recently. If I have a secondary stream, it would be Thursday or Friday. But nothing that important, I don't think. I'm always open to talk at any time for you or anybody else who's interested. I'm always on Discord, and yeah, just whatever.
I linked your Twitch. Make sure to check out his Twitch.
Yeah,
I linked his Twitch, his poetry, and his actual
you,
Instagram account. So please drop him a follow. Homeboy suffered through 2 hours of me, so I think it's the least. I think it's the least y'all can do.
The best 2 hours of my week so far.
Hey, listen. 7 days is a lot of hours, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, brother. Me. Especially, I definitely just dropped it. I'm like, yo, want to be on this podcast? I'm always scared doing that. People I don't talk to too often because I'm definitely gonna scare them with this because I feel like it sounds way more serious than it is.
Oh no, man! I knew it was chill. I knew your vibes. I was like, I'm down for this.
It'll be fine.
So, yeah, exactly.
Oh my god.
You're all trying to prep and stuff. I'm like, bro, we got it. Don't worry. It's chill. It's gonna be like second nature.
my prep is so it's not even prep. It's more I need to make sure you're framed correctly. Diego, thank you so much for 13 months. It's more I need to be sure you're actually in the frame, which is not the case most time. The second you are in frame from the get go, I'm oh, this is gonna be a good one. We're good. It's literally you'd think I'd change everything ahead of time, but no, we just do it live. We just do it 2 minutes and end up starting late because I take my time.
Yeah, you're winging it half the time, like you said.
That isn't a joke.
Bio.
It's not a joke. It's not a joke. It is.
Oh, I never thought it was a joke.
It has been the sentiment since we started. Because literally, I think I came up with that because my first 4 boards, I almost borked building. I'm how did I fuck this up? And I'm we're just winging it. We're just winging it. It's fine. I literally found one of my mods' bread mold because I was building a tofu 65 for a client. It was this girl that was big on TikTok, and something happened. Oh, I flashed it, and I think I accidentally flashed it with the wrong file, and it wasn't working correctly. And he was just oh, you're building a tofu 65? I'm you know what a tofu is? I'm hey, do you know how to fix this? And I just made him jump in this stranger at the time. I made him jump in a Discord call with me. And then he just became a friend and then a mod after. That's awesome. That's what winging it has gotten me. I met the other one because I was having issues streaming Valorant. And he got on and helped me fix my settings. And then that one became my mod as well. He was one of my first 2, I think. Shout out Spence. Shout out all the mods. But yeah, Choobies, thank you so much. Guys, make sure you follow him if you're not already. Possibly streaming Tuesday, regardless. Just follow him anyway. He's the man. Follow his poetry. When's the last time you posted on your poetry account?
I've been thinking about it for the past couple of weeks. I was I want to write a poem or just publish one that I've written already. I'll get around to it. I did have a lot of fun doing poetry stuff. I'm always think about it. I'm doing the setup, choosing the prop, all of that. It's a lot of fun.
I love
into the behind the scenes.
The aesthetic's fantastic. I was damn, this is good. It's
Thank you,
simple.
Man.
It's so simple, but it's consistent to where it looks just so nice scrolling.
True.
But what kind of villain do I have to defeat to become mod? That's a good question. You have to defeat your own demons. Are you capable of that, Kitty Fries? Many villains. But guys, I think we're gonna go just monk us. Oh god. We're gonna go raid the wonderful Liz Kids Honey. She's building a keyboard, I don't know what. Then exploring my childhood. That is building a keyboard and then exploring my childhood. I don't know what that means, but it should be interesting. Please go show her some love. She did the renders on my set, Evil Eye. She is just a fantastic person all around and loves chalky milk. But yeah, Choobies, thank you, brother. We'll do this again soon. We'll definitely talk more often. We're gonna figure out this bromance. We're gonna get this solidified.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Thank you for having me again. I appreciate you so much. The vibe that you have, you're setting all this up and reaching out. It's really kind of struck a nice chord with me. I've been dealing with a lot of mixed feelings about streaming and keyboards as a whole. It's kind of one of those things that's very like I'm in my head a lot about it. So having you be here, encouraging me, all that, it's just been great. Oh, we're starting the raid. Anyway, that's it.
Oh no,
Thank
I
you.
can't. I canceled. Keep going. You're good. No. I can do
Oh,
that again.
what?
I'm not worried. Oh, I'm not worried about that. I can do that again.
I just know as a streamer, I saw you like peek at it. I was like, oh, dude.
Oh,
the
I was
raid's
more
going.
like, oh no, I was more like, are we good? I'm like, I'll just cancel it, do it again. It was more like I didn't want you to get cut off. I'm not worried
Oh,
about
no, of course.
raiding.
I understand,
just
I
didn't want you to
understand.
get cut off.
Thank you very much. But yeah, thank you for everything. It's been a great encouragement. It's something I felt like I needed to hear at this specific. Your timing was absolutely perfect. So just thank you.
I'm glad
More
you,
to come on that when we talk more in our bromance.
No, of course. I'm glad you it got pushed back to this week then if the timing was good. That worked out well. Because I thought we were gonna do last week. I almost put you for last week. That was
Yeah.
no, of course, brother. Thank you so much. And listen, obviously I'm always here to reach out to if you ever need to talk. I'm on my computer at all times usually.
Yeah, same, man.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for everything. We'll talk soon.
Thank you.
Guys,
Thank you,
please go.
chat, everyone. All of you are awesome.
Thank y'all. Diego, I love you. Mwah. Same with Seba and everybody else, Burley. Thank you to all the new friends that joined in from Choobies. I hope to see you all sometime. You all seem very, very nice. But guys, go show Liz Kids some love. I will see you all. This is it for me. I'm going to be canceling tomorrow's stream. I just have to go grocery shopping. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I have to go grocery shopping and get my life together. I'm going home this weekend. So, no more streams this week. I will be back next week. I might be building a key cult. I don't know. I haven't heard from this client, so I don't think it's happening. But if not, a KFE next week. So I will see you all. Choobies, again, thank you so much, brother. I love you. Y'all, as always, cheers, my friends. I will see you all next week. I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Go show Liz Kids some love. I'll see y'all. Bye-bye.